The calm before the storm. In the vast reaches of space, on a planet far removed from the bustling hubs of civilization, a small human settlement thrived. The colony, known as Haven, was a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Settled on a planet with a harsh environment, humans had transformed the barren landscape into a haven of life and prosperity. The settlers of Haven were a tight-knit community, bound together by shared hardships and triumphs. Jonathan was one of the many who called Haven home. A dedicated engineer, he was known for his calm demeanor and unwavering determination. His wife, Emily, and their two children, Alex and Sophie, were the center of his world. The family was well loved in the community, known for their kindness and willingness to help others. One fateful day, the sky above Haven darkened with the arrival of an alien fleet. The invaders, a ruthless group of pirates, had set their sights on the colony's resources. Without warning, they unleashed a devastating bombardment. Explosions rocked the settlement, and the once peaceful Haven was thrown into chaos. Jonathan and his family were in their home when the attack began. The ground shook violently, and the sound of distant explosions filled the air. Jonathan's first instinct was to protect his family. He gathered Emily, Alex, and Sophie and led them to the basement where they huddled together, hoping the bombardment would soon end. The attack was relentless. The pirates targeted the colony's defenses, swiftly neutralizing the security installations and overwhelming the colonist troops. Jonathan's heart pounded in his chest as he held his family close, the fear of losing them almost too much to bear. After what felt like an eternity, the bombardment ceased, and an eerie silence descended upon Haven. Emerging from the basement, Jonathan surveyed the destruction. The once vibrant settlement lay in ruins. Fires raged, and smoke billowed into the sky. The invaders had landed, and they began rounding up the surviving colonists, intending to enslave them. Jonathan's worst fears were realized when he saw the lifeless bodies of Emily, Alex, and Sophie among the wreckage. Grief-stricken, he fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. But in that moment of profound loss, something within Jonathan changed. His grief transformed into a cold, steely resolve. He would not let his family's deaths be in vain. He would fight back against the invaders, no matter the cost. Jonathan knew he couldn't take on the pirates alone. He needed a plan. He retreated to a hidden shelter he had built for emergencies, a place stocked with supplies and equipped with advanced technology. As he sat in the dimly lit room, he formulated a strategy. He would gather intelligence on the pirates, identify their weaknesses, and strike when they least expected it. Days passed, and Jonathan moved through the ruined colony like a ghost, avoiding detection. He observed the invaders closely, noting their routines and gathering valuable information. He saw firsthand the cruelty of the pirates, how they mistreated and exploited the surviving colonists. Each act of brutality fueled his determination. One night, Jonathan saw an opportunity. The lone pirate had wandered too close to his hiding place. Without hesitation, Jonathan sprang into action. He subdued the invader with a swift, silent strike and dragged him back to the shelter. The pirate, now bound and gagged, stared at Jonathan with a mixture of fear and defiance. In the shelter, Jonathan began his interrogation. He removed the gag and spoke in a calm, measured tone. "You will not leave this place whole. That much is certain. All you can control is how quick and painless this process will be. I am going to ask you questions. The longer you take to give me the information I need, the more painful and drawn out this will be. If you are lucky, I'll kill you once I'm done." The pirate laughed in Jonathan's face. "You think I'm scared of you? A nobody in a backwater colony that couldn't resist one ship." Jonathan's response was swift and brutal. He grabbed one of the pirate's appendages and twisted it until he heard the crunch of bones breaking. The pirate's laughter turned into a scream of pain. Still, he remained defiant. "I serve the most ruthless pirate in this sector. You think broken bones will make me fear you more than him?" Over the next several hours, Jonathan demonstrated the lengths he was willing to go to. He used every method at his disposal to extract information from the pirate. The invaders' resistance was formidable, but Jonathan's resolve was unbreakable. Finally, after enduring unimaginable pain, the pirate broke and divulged the information Jonathan needed. With the knowledge he had gained, Jonathan began to formulate his plan of attack. He would not rest until he had avenged his family and freed Haven from the invaders. The calm before the storm had ended, and the storm was about to break. The first strike. Jonathan spent days preparing for the mission. He scavenged the wreckage for weapons and equipment, fashioning makeshift explosives and gathering anything that could give him an edge. The hidden shelter became his base of operations, filled with maps, plans, and stolen pirate data. He knew the mission was dangerous, but he had nothing left to lose. Under the cover of darkness, Jonathan moved silently through the ruins of Haven. He had timed his approach carefully, waiting for the pirates to be at their most vulnerable during the early hours of the morning. As he neared the command center, he could see the guards patrolling the perimeter. They were relaxed, complacent, and unprepared for what was about to happen. Jonathan crept closer, using the shadows to his advantage. He carefully placed explosives at strategic points around the building, ensuring maximum damage. With the final charge set, he retreated to a safe distance and took a deep breath. The calm before the storm had ended. It was time to strike. The explosion shattered the stillness of the night, the force of the blast shaking the ground and sending debris flying. The command center erupted in flames, and the screams of panic and confusion filled the air. Jonathan wasted no time. He moved quickly, taking advantage of the chaos. The guards were disoriented, scrambling to respond to the attack. Jonathan picked them off one by one, his aim steady and precise. He moved with a deadly efficiency, driven by the memory of his family and the need to protect the surviving colonists. As he fought his way into the command center, he encountered more resistance. The pirates, now aware of the threat, fought back with a ferocity born of desperation. In the midst of the battle, Jonathan found himself face to face with one of the pirate leaders. The alien was larger and stronger, but Jonathan's determination gave him an edge. They clashed in a brutal struggle, each trying to overpower the other. The pirate leader sneered, underestimating the human's resolve. "You think you can defeat us?" The alien taunted. "You're just one man against an army." Jonathan's response was a grim smile. "I'm not just fighting for myself. I'm fighting for everyone you've hurt." With a final surge of strength, Jonathan overpowered the pirate leader, driving a knife into the alien's heart. The leader fell, and Jonathan stood over the body, breathing heavily. The command center was in ruins, and the remaining pirates were in disarray. The first strike had been a success, but Jonathan knew the battle was far from over. He retreated to the shelter, his mind racing with plans for the next phase of his mission. The surviving colonists needed to be rescued, and the pirates needed to be driven from Haven once and for all. As he worked, he thought of Emily, Alex, and Sophie, drawing strength from their memory. They had believed in him, and he would not let them down. Rallying the survivors, with the command center in ruins and the pirates in disarray, Jonathan turned his attention to the surviving colonists. They were scattered and frightened, hiding in the remains of their homes and makeshift shelters. Jonathan knew he needed to unite them, to give them hope and a reason to fight back. He moved through the settlement, seeking out familiar faces and offering words of encouragement. Slowly but surely, the survivors began to gather, drawn by Jonathan's unwavering resolve. Among them was Dr. Elena Ramirez, a physician who had tended to the wounded during the attack. Her medical skills would be invaluable in the coming days. "Jonathan," she said, her voice filled with relief and determination, "we thought we had lost you. What's the plan?" "We fight back," Jonathan replied. "The pirates think they've broken us, but we're still here. We need to organize, gather supplies, and launch a coordinated attack. We can take back Haven, but we need to do it together." Dr. Ramirez nodded, her eyes blazing with resolve. "Whatever you need, we're with you." Word spread quickly, and more survivors emerged from hiding. They were a diverse group, each bringing their own skills and strengths to the table. Engineers, farmers, teachers, and children. All were ready to fight for their home. Jonathan worked tirelessly, coordinating their efforts and ensuring everyone had a role to play. They set up a makeshift command center in one of the few remaining buildings, using salvage technology to communicate and strategize. The colonists scoured the ruins for weapons and supplies, preparing for the next phase of their rebellion. Morale was high, fueled by a renewed sense of purpose and unity. As they worked, Jonathan continued to gather intelligence on the pirates. He learned that their main ship, the Black Marauder, was heavily guarded and equipped with advanced weaponry. Taking it down would be their greatest challenge, but it was also their best chance to drive the invaders from Haven. The final assault. Jonathan stood at the front of the assembled colonists, his gaze steady and determined. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the ruins of Haven. It was time. He had briefed everyone on their roles, and now they were ready to move. The plan was simple but dangerous, a multi-pronged attack that would target the Black Marauder and the remaining pirate forces simultaneously. "Remember," Jonathan said, his voice carrying over the crowd, "we fight for our home, for our fallen, and for our future. Stay focused, stay strong, and we will prevail." The colonists, now a makeshift militia, nodded in unison. Armed with salvaged weapons and makeshift armor, they moved out under the cover of darkness, splitting into groups as they approached the pirate stronghold. Jonathan led the main assault team, heading straight for the Black Marauder. As they neared the pirate ship, the sound of battle began to echo through the night. The other groups had engaged the enemy, drawing their attention and creating a diversion. Jonathan and his team used the chaos to their advantage, slipping past the outer defenses and making their way to the heart of the enemy camp. The Black Marauder loomed ahead, a massive and intimidating presence. Guards patrolled the perimeter, but they were unprepared for the coordinated attack. Jonathan signaled to his team, and they moved in silently, taking down the sentries one by one. The entrance to the ship was heavily guarded, but Jonathan had anticipated this. Now, he whispered into his communicator. A series of explosions erupted around the camp, the signal for the final assault. The colonists charged, their battle cries filling the air. Jonathan led the way, blasting through the entrance with a well-placed explosive charge. They stormed the ship, encountering fierce resistance from the pirates inside. Blaster fire lit up the corridors as Jonathan and his team fought their way through the ship. The pirates, though well-armed, were caught off guard by the ferocity and determination of the colonists. They fell back, retreating deeper into the ship. Jonathan pressed on, driven by the memory of his family and the need to protect his newfound community. In the command center of the Black Marauder, the pirate captain stood waiting. A hulking figure with a cruel smile, he watched as Jonathan burst into the room. The captain drew his weapon, a massive energy sword, and advanced. "You must be the thorn in our side," the captain sneered. "I admire your spirit, human, but this ends here." Jonathan didn't respond. He moved swiftly, dodging the captain's initial strike and countering with a powerful blow. The two clashed, their fight a brutal display of strength and skill. Around them, the battle raged on as the colonists continued their assault on the pirate ship. With a final, desperate effort, Jonathan managed to disarm the captain, sending the energy sword clattering to the floor. The captain, now weaponless, snarled in defiance, but Jonathan was relentless. He delivered a crushing blow, knocking the pirate leader to the ground. "It ends when we say it ends," Jonathan said, his voice cold and unwavering. With the captain subdued, the remaining pirates began to surrender. The colonists, though battered and weary, had prevailed. They secured the ship, disarming the pirates and taking control of the Black Marauder. The tide had turned, and Haven was on the path to freedom. Rebuilding Haven. The days following the assault were filled with hard work and determination. The colonists, now united and stronger than ever, turned their attention to rebuilding Haven. The Black Marauder, once a symbol of fear, was repurposed as a source of supplies and technology to aid in the reconstruction efforts. Dr. Elena Ramirez led the medical team, tending to the wounded and ensuring everyone received the care they needed. Engineers and builders worked tirelessly, repairing structures and restoring essential services. The children, once frightened and uncertain, now played and laughed, their hope renewed. Jonathan moved through the settlement, helping where he could and offering words of encouragement. He had become a symbol of resilience and leadership, but he never lost sight of what mattered most: the safety and well-being of his people. As the weeks passed, Haven began to flourish once more. New homes were built, gardens were planted, and the community grew stronger. The colonists had learned to rely on each other, forging bonds that would withstand any challenge. The memory of the fallen was honored, and their legacy lived on in the renewed spirit of Haven. One evening, as the sun set over the rebuilt settlement, Jonathan stood on a hill overlooking the town. Dr. Ramirez joined him, her expression filled with quiet pride. "We did it, Jonathan," she said softly. "We took back our home." Jonathan nodded, his gaze steady. "We did, and we'll keep fighting, no matter what comes next." A new beginning. With Haven rebuilt and the pirate threat eliminated, the colonists turned their attention to the future. They established a council to govern the settlement, ensuring that everyone had a voice in the decisions that shaped their community. Jonathan, though reluctant, was elected as the council's leader, his bravery and leadership during the crisis earning him the trust and respect of his peers. The Black Marauder, now a symbol of their victory, was transformed into a research and defense center. The technology salvaged from the ship provided valuable resources for the colonists, enabling them to enhance their security and explore new possibilities for growth and development. Under Jonathan's guidance, the colonists established trade routes with nearby settlements, fostering alliances and strengthening their position in the region. They shared their knowledge and resources, building a network of support and cooperation that extended far beyond Haven's borders. As the settlement continued to thrive, Jonathan found moments of peace and reflection. He often visited the memorial they had erected for the fallen, a place of quiet remembrance and gratitude. It was there, surrounded by the memories of those they had lost, that he found solace and purpose. One day, as he stood before the memorial, a young girl approached him. She was one of the children who had survived the attack, her eyes bright with curiosity and hope. "Mr. Jonathan," she said softly, "will you tell us a story about the old days, about how we became heroes?" Jonathan smiled, his heart warmed by her innocence and resilience. He knelt down, meeting her gaze. "I'd be happy to," he replied. "It's a story of courage, strength, and the power of unity. And it all began in humanity's darkest hour." The legacy of hope. Years passed, and Haven grew into a thriving hub of innovation and community. The story of their struggle and triumph became a part of their collective identity, passed down from generation to generation. The children, now adults, carried forward the values of resilience, unity, and hope that had defined their parents' fight for survival. Jonathan, though older and with a few more gray hairs, remained a central figure in the community. His leadership had guided them through their darkest days, and his vision continued to inspire them as they faced new challenges and opportunities. One evening, as the stars shone brightly above Haven, the community gathered for a celebration. It was a time to reflect on their journey, to honor their achievements, and to look forward to the future. Jonathan stood before them, his heart filled with pride and gratitude. "We have come a long way," he began, his voice carrying over the crowd. "We have faced unimaginable trials and emerged stronger for it. We have built a home where once there was only ruin, and we have forged a future from the ashes of our past." The crowd cheered, their spirits lifted by his words. But our journey is not over, Jonathan continued. There will always be new challenges, new threats to our way of life. But we have shown that together, we can overcome anything. We are more than survivors. We are pioneers, builders, and protectors. And we will continue to rise, no matter what comes our way. As the celebration continued, Jonathan looked around at the faces of his friends and family, old and new. He saw the strength and determination that had carried them through their darkest hours, and he knew that their future was bright. In the end, it was not just the story of one man or one settlement. It was the story of humanity's indomitable spirit, a legacy of hope that would endure for generations to come. And as the stars continued to shine above Haven, Jonathan felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that they were ready for whatever the universe had in store.